Hey and happy Friday. I've been wanting to record this video all week in response to the 10 things to tell you prompt about assumptions, and now I'm finally getting around to it, and I've had some kind of extra thoughts on it, so I'm glad I waited, and I'm just interested to see what you all think. I thought the timing was curious because I've seen several Instagram accounts do a question box asking their followers to tell them what they assume about them. So what I assume that meant is that people want them to give them high compliments and, like, oh, I assume you are the nicest person and you donate to charity and just all these. It seemed like it was more pandering for praise than actual interest, which was my poor assumption. Because after I was thinking about this more, Laura in the podcast, which I definitely recommend listening to, I listened to it twice, talked a lot about how we probably assume in others that they're not struggling with what we are struggling with, so that in turn makes us feel worse. And then in some cases we may assume that they are struggling when they actually aren't. So I know I'm guilty of thinking that, well, first, I'm guilty of recording this multiple times, so if you assume that I do these things on the first take, that would be a wrong assumption. I tend to assume that people are always telling the truth because I'm a very poor liar. I'm just not good at it, and I tend to assume the best in people for the most part. If somebody's shady, then I'll assume that they're not being honest. But for the most part, I tend to think people are telling me the truth. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. And then going further, I started thinking about why we make all these assumptions. And I think a lot of it goes... I'm not going to re-record this. I'm just going to stumble over my words. A lot of it is attributed to us not wanting to dive into deep conversations with people. And I'm guilty of this because when I meet somebody new, even somebody I've met multiple times, I don't like asking hard and deep questions, but I always have so much respect for people I meet. I have a couple of acquaintances who are just awesome askers of questions. Is that how you would phrase that? They just always ask the most insightful questions, and often they apologize for it and say, oh, if that's too personal, just tell me. But I think that's amazing, and I wish I had learned at an earlier age how to ask good questions of people and how to deal with differences of opinion better, because I think that's a lot of what this boils down to. Is we want to assume that if someone thinks differently than we do, that then any relationship we have is going to be severed. So we tend to just stick to the surface stuff so that we can maintain relationship and not have conflict. So anyway, those are my deep thoughts for today. This is what happens when I don't talk to adults for a while, which I haven't, because anyway, I'm joining a group that I will be able to have lots of deep conversations with, and I'm looking forward to that very much. And because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm going to put one of those "what do you assume about me" question boxes. And that's the other thing about me. I'm pretty much an open book. I'll tell you whatever. I'm not a good liar, so I will tell you the truth. So if you had questions, I keep wanting to say taglines from podcasts I listen to. The Popcast always says, if you have thoughts and opinions on our thoughts and opinions. But I can't steal their tagline, because I'm not a liar. I will leave it here. I hope you all have a great Friday, a great weekend if you're watching this on Saturday, which I'm not sure why you would be. And now I'm starting to worry about how many little tick marks are going to be at the top of this story. And now I'm going to have to go read through all the closed captioning too. I maybe should have done this as a live, but that's even scarier, which is very, very true. Okay, bye.